it at some later date. And I believe you all have a test on genetics next week at some point, right? Okay. So, can somebody raise their hand and let's just review really quickly. What is DNA?
You know what it stands for?
What is DNA? Not what does it stand for? What is it?
You know what it means?
What's your name, honey? Jasmine. Okay, what is DNA? Well, say what you just said. Okay, hold on. When somebody's talking, I need to hear what she's saying. You said genes and what now? Okay, genetic information. Would anybody else add to that definition?
What she say?
She said genetic information. You agree? Okay, I agree that DNA, which stands for deoxyribonucleic acid, does hold your genetic information. Now, can somebody tell me how is DNA structured? Like, if you were to look at it, what does it look like? Hold on. What's your name? Jonathan. What does it look like? The lines are squiggly and they go around. A double helix. I like that terminology. A double helix. Okay, yes, like this. So, let me ask you, what's your name?
Me,
Jeremy. You told me that a DNA is structured like a double helix. How does that structure help DNA do what it's supposed to do? Not sure? Can anyone tell me? Okay, let me ask you this. What is DNA composed of? What is it made up of?
How you say
Adenine, guanine, what's the other one?
How you say it? I forgot.
Cytosine or what else? Guanine. And those are called what?
Bases. Nitrogen bases.
Okay, nitrogen bases. So the thing with DNA is that, like Jeremy said, it's structured as a double helix, which looks like a ladder that's going in a spiral. But the reason why that structure is helpful for DNA is because those bases that you just named, they pair up, correct?
Yeah.
How do they pair up?
A and T and C and G.
Okay, good. So when they pair up, what happens to DNA? Can't the DNA
Yes.
separate?
Yes.
What is that called? Okay, good. So you all have learned how DNA can replicate by that double helix splitting, and replicate meaning it can make more of itself, correct? Well, what we're going to talk about today is what happens, because all of this stuff occurs naturally in our bodies. What happens if we as human beings could actually go into science, go into our bodies scientifically, and change some things around?
Kind of like with the magic school bus.
With the magic school bus, what happens on the magic school
No,
bus?
I'm saying, you know how they be going in places.
They
and
turn
like,
it
you
on.
know, you know, you need that little show.
Okay, like the mutations? Similar. So let's talk about this. So let's look up here. I know you all have annotated objectives before, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, we're going to do this process together, and I put it right here just so you can see it. We're going to have to shift some things around. Can somebody read it for me? Very good. So, what are some words that you've seen in other classes before?
Examine.
Examine,
The use.
Agriculture,
medicine, what else?
benefits,
Benefits, technology. Okay, anything else?
DNA.
Have you seen that in another class other than science? Okay. You said technology, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm just putting a little, what about forensics?
No.
No? Okay. So if you notice, I put either a 2 or a 3 next to those letters. Next to those words. And why I did that because you all have discussed tier 2 and tier 3 vocabulary before? Yes? No? Yes? Okay. So I did that for a reason. I'll explain that to you in a second. But I know you all are used to circling and underlining. Let me do that really quickly, and we're gonna go through what these mean. Completely a flat surface, but we're gonna make it work. With DNA technology, I'm going to circle the entire thing, even though it's your turn. Hi, Steve. Hello, how are you? You have a question? Yes, yes, ma'am. For Mr. Bush. All right, so let's go to examine. You said we've heard this word before. What does examine mean?
To look at.
To look at, okay. I'm gonna say to investigate, which is a more sophisticated word, or to inquire. All right, what about technology? We said we've heard that word before. Huh? Okay, so all of those things are types of technology. I'm going to define it as this. When you use something for functional use or practical use, okay? So like we use a fork to eat, we use a spoon to eat. That's technology. So it's a scientific use, or scientific or practical use. Okay. What about forensics? This was a new word for you guys.
No, it's not. Okay. No,
It's not really a tool, it's actually a study. So when you become seniors, you're going to study forensics. All of our seniors are either taking forensic science or they're taking AP biology. Forensics is actually this, when you use science to solve a crime. You all have ever seen the show CSI? Yes. So, the use of science to solve a crime. And we're going to do a little bit of this today. Yeah. Medicine. Something you take to feel good? Help your body. So in this case, that's not incorrect. And in other areas or in your life, that's how you use medicine. You take medicine if you have a headache. But in this case, medicine is going to be the study of those things. So the study of how we prevent diseases and the study of how diseases work. Okay, so it's actually a discipline. So it's a study of identifying and preventing diseases. Okay, agriculture. Where have you heard that word? Yes, social studies, probably in geography, right? Yeah. Agri means land. So what is agriculture?
Land culture.
Land culture.
Agriculture is actually anything having to do with, or the process of, should I say, preparing your land. So preparing your land to grow crops, but also what falls in this category is livestock. So when I say livestock, like cows, chicken, things that you would find on a farm, also go with agriculture. All right? So in order to explain, what does explain mean?
Break down.
Break down.
Break down to, can I say make clear? Make plain? Right? All right, benefits?
Help, support.
Well, if I told you that the prefix BEN means good, what is benefit? Something is a benefit? Good. Right, something good or something that is an advantage. I'm going to come back to DNA technology. DNA technology, because that's a new term. What about society?
People around.
Yes, we've heard about society and social
People
studies.
around you, the area you live in.
Community.
Okay, good. Communities of people. Okay, then last but not least, DNA technology. And as I explain what DNA technology is, I'm going to actually hand out to you. I'm going to hand to you the objective already annotated. The reason I didn't have you annotate is because a lot of these definitions are very lengthy, but go ahead and keep it out with you, because so as we go through the lesson, you can remember what the words mean. DNA technology is any type of technology or science that's used to alter or change DNA. You know what I mean when I say alter? Alter means to do what? Switch, to change. So DNA technology is any type of technology that allows for you to switch what happens or change around what happens naturally. So for the past couple of weeks, you all learned about how DNA replicates, right? Did you learn about mutations? Correct? Yeah. And y'all did some type of activity with some people that had some very interesting genetic disorders.
Yeah, like cat woman.
Okay.
Shark lady syndrome, whatever.
Okay.
SpongeBob.
And SpongeBob syndrome. Even though those syndromes were not real, but for the purpose of you learning, there are some real syndromes out there that are genetic disorders. But what we're going to talk about today is what happens if, in science, we're given the opportunity to actually change things. What if we change the outcome? What would happen then? Okay? Do me a favor as I transition this over to the Promethean board. If you notice on your sheet, I forgot to define the word explain for you. Go ahead and write the definition. That was to make plain or to make clear. Go ahead and write that over the word explain. And then also at the bottom, when it's where it says,
She said to make what?
which words are used in other subject areas? Any word that I put a to by, like examine or explain, you should put that in that box. And which words are mostly used only in science? You said forensics and DNA technology. So go ahead and write those things down while I change out to the PowerPoint presentation, and we'll keep you moving.
That's it. Come on, right? Make plain. Alright, wait, make.
Hey, Shawty, stop playing. Whoever they do, I do it one of y'all. You and him. Cause y'all want to keep doing
Who said that?
my phone right.
My shit make it
Bro, do your work, bro. Stop talking.
You don't even game that. You don't even game Oh, you done recording now? No. Huh?
He recording the whole club.
He got all y'all in while I'm talking to you. Yes.
Let's turn.
Me? APS. Y'all gonna follow me on Instagram. Hey, Mr. Brooks, what you want us to do with the three, the word, she put 3 on there. You want us to
She teaching the class today?
So number 3.
She teaching the class the rest of the day? That's on the other side.
Yeah, really quick. Let me
Stop.
All right, so everybody listen. For number 3, right here on your annotated objective where it says which words are used mostly in science, DNA technology and forensics, because you all said that those were two words that you didn't really see in another subject area, which I would agree with, and therefore that's what we would call a tier 3 word. So there are some words that you see up here that you will see in other subject areas. They may mean the same thing, or sometimes they may mean something different. Like when Jonathan said that medicine is something that you take to feel better, that is true. But medicine can also be a practice, like I practice medicine. If I'm a doctor, I practice medicine, which is basically that entire group of, I practice the prevention of disease, I practice the diagnosis of disease, that type of thing, okay? In different contexts.
Yeah, different content.
In different contexts. But as far as forensics, you might hear about forensics in law. If you decide to take law, you might hear it there. Okay? So I'm going to move this back just a tad so you can see the Promethean board. So remember I told you that DNA technology, listen up. Ouch! Alright, remember I said that DNA technology is the process where, or when you use technology to actually alter DNA, or alter what happens genetically speaking. I'm going to introduce you to two or a couple of new terms that you probably have not heard of before, but you definitely have interacted with it before, knowingly or unknowingly. So some common types of DNA technology that you need to know is DNA fingerprinting, which a lot of times is used in forensics. And remember, forensics is when we use science to solve what? Crimes. Okay? And then also recombinant is how you pronounce that word. Recombinant DNA technology. What word do you see in that word recombinant? Recombine. What does it mean to combine? Come together. So if something is recombined, it must have been taken apart and you have to put it together again. So recombinant DNA technology, which a lot of times is used for medicine and agriculture, is when scientists are taking DNA and they're taking it out of one source and combining it with something else, and it's altering what's going on, okay? And some common types of recombinant DNA technology is genetic engineering and what else? Genetic modification. Let me tell you just a little bit about these things here. So,
You need the clickers?
DNA fingerprinting.
We finna watch some?
We're gonna watch some short videos.
No, bro.
So with DNA fingerprinting, a lot of times DNA fingerprinting is used to identify family members. If you watch TV, have you seen those commercials about like Ancestry? Yes. Ancestry.com.
You gotta pay for that. And it's a new way.
Called what?
Go ahead and say.
All right, so listen. So with Ancestry, gentlemen in the back, with Ancestry.com, what they do is it's actually a kit, or a lot of them are kits, and they take DNA, or you send in your DNA, and the way that you send it in a lot of times is you just swab the inside of your mouth, and you send it to a lab, and that lab will break down your DNA and tell you about your family tree. So they'll tell you if you have, Irish or French or
Would you plan on
whatever.
doing it? Would you do something like that though?
I would. However, that's a very good question. I would do it, but for many of us in this country that are people of color, it can only go back so far.
Right.
Because so much of our ancestry is all over the place, or it might be lost somewhere. So for me, my family's from the Caribbean. And then if you go back some more, there's some parts of my family that's from West Africa. There's some parts of my family from Costa Rica. There's some parts from Panama. But for everybody else, who knows where yours will be? So for a lot of times, African Americans or Hispanic individuals, they may not invest their money in something like that because they feel like, how far back can they go? Or it goes far enough back and then they have to do some legwork on their own to go figure out some things. Okay, but not a bad thing to do. Not a bad thing to do. But that's how you can identify it. Now, another way you can identify family members is course, you have situations where, is this person the father of the child? Is this person the mother of the child? That type of thing.
Father.
Or are these two people siblings? You can use DNA fingerprinting for that. Of course, identifying a crime. If you commit a crime and some part of your DNA is left on the scene, they can identify you, or even identifying a body. A lot of times, like if there's a fire and someone is burned badly and you can't recognize them, they have to get their DNA and identify them that way. Okay, so that's DNA fingerprinting. Any questions?
I got it.
Go ahead.
Like, say if she in my family, but I ain't know that. Nah, say if she in my family. Nah, just say if he and her with family members, they ain't know it, but they went together. Mm-hmm. So like they just created family. Well, through family.
Something that I think they're doing now is you have to get a blood test before you get married, and a lot of times they do that so they can know the separate happening. And I know some couples who've gone the length because they come from a small town to make sure that they're not related, because there's a lot of genetic defects that can come from that. Oh, can we play that video? All right, so I'm going to play a quick video for you. It's not very long at all, and it's going to explain DNA fingerprinting. Pay very close attention, because if we have time, we're actually going to do an activity on DNA fingerprinting today.
That's why some be curious.
He recorded it, bro. Look, he recorded her.
I think I know what you're talking about. You get it
Hey, bro, you look at it, boy.
All right, attention up here. Folks over here, can you see?
And Dwayne.
Look at that. I know who.
The next one is yeah, and this is another one. But that lady had the kids in the basement, and that little man, she was being a rat poison and stuff, and that little boy died. Yeah.
It's not the white. So while we're changing this out, let me tell you about recombinant DNA really quickly, and that way we can just watch all the videos at once. So, when you go into the grocery store, if you look on the label of some of your foods, you'll see something that says non-GMO. You have to look for it. Sometimes it's very small, and it's not on all of the food. And it's a little picture of a plant. So GMO means genetically modified food, meaning that they've gone into the DNA of that organism, some type of food. They've taken a piece of that gene and they've combined it with something else to make basically a genetically altered thing. So let me give you an example.
So it's not like McDonald's.
Hold on. Wait a minute. It's real food. Listen, folks in the back. It's real food, but it's been genetically altered. So for example, everybody in here has probably eaten an apple before, right? Yeah. What happens if you cut an apple in half and you just leave it open? What happens?
It start molding, like
It doesn't
turning
mold,
color,
it turns brown.
It started.
The air hitting it helps it, makes it turn brown.
Yeah.
They figured out a way to genetically modify some apples to where when you slice it, it doesn't turn brown anymore. But the thing is, it's still genetically altered. So it's not that the apple is not real, but at the same time, the apple is not what you would call organic because something has been done to change the genetic makeup. You see what I'm talking about?
How is it both good and bad?
We're gonna talk about that in a second. Let's watch the video because it's queued up on DNA fingerprinting. And then after we talk about this, we'll come back to genetically modified organisms.
Hey.